Hi, Gia. Hi, Dina. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Talk It Out. I'm happy I actually got some people here. So this is my first live. And I wanted to explain to people kind of what Talk It Out is. So when you're thinking about Talk It Out, so what I wanted to say is look at it like this. Just think of like your best friend, your pastor, your boyfriend, girlfriend, all the people that you know that you're trusted to tell your issues to, right? So one day all these people just went ghost on you. They went on vacation, they left you, and you don't have anybody to talk to. That's where I come in, okay? You can vent here. You can talk to me. I will be your backup plan until those people come back. Basically, it's giving people somebody to talk to when they have nobody. A lot of people I found, even in my times in the military, and I'll do my introduction shortly, but I found that a lot of people do not have people to talk to. Sometimes it's based on trust, because it's hard to trust people. And if you can't trust somebody, then you can't talk to them. I'm here to make it somebody to talk to. Even though you don't know me, it's also easier to talk to somebody you don't know. I have documented PTSD. You know, I went to the war like 3 or 4 times. And you come back and you have a lot of things going on. And one thing I found out is counseling really works. And so it's easier to talk to my counselor because she didn't know me. My brother actually works at Amazon. And one of the greatest things about Amazon, he came home one day, he was like, you know what they have here? I said, what do they have? He said, they have actual mental health counselors. They have like on-site medical people. And he said they had different types of mental health. And I said, really? He said, yeah, and it's so easy to talk to them. And I said, well, anytime they offer it to you, you take it. What I've been realizing going in other people's lives, I heard somebody one day and they said, they were on somebody else's live and they said, I can't find people to talk to. She was talking in a live, but it wasn't the topic of the live. And so she kind of got off track and they said, you know, I don't think this is really the place for you for your topic. And she said, you know what? It probably isn't, but I don't have anybody to talk to have my issues. And I had went up and I think it was actually on Straight Facts Lives. And I said, you know what? If somebody needs to have somebody to talk to, they can send me a message. I'll have a conversation with them. We can talk it out, which kind of gave me the idea for the name for Talk It Out. And she said, okay, if you got issues, you know, get with Miss Jack and she'll help you work through them. And I've done a lot of talking. When you come up in the military, you have young soldiers. Like we've had ages from like 17 is like the youngest. And then I've had some that were also like in their 40s. You never know what people need to talk to, what type of issues that people have. So if you can give them somebody to talk to, then it's kind of like a release, you know? So that is what my goal is going to be. I'm going to try to help you push through and work through your problems. It's a question ask technique. I can't do it this live or my next 2 lives because the first ones I have to go by myself. So I can't bring people up to actually have interactions and talk with them. But we will get that. So today is just going to be like an introduction, kind of what Talk It Out is, and then like some of my background, introduce myself. Then we'll go over like the rules that I'm going to have. And we're going to try to keep some lighthearted topics at the beginning because, again, I can't bring people up so I can talk to you guys in the comments. So we're going to do that. So we'll try to change here. I can figure out where to change my background at. Y'all bear with me. This is my first time. And I didn't know where to change it at. I don't know. Enhanced. Oh, we might have found it, y'all. Bear with me. Well, we may be stuck with the picture that we have. Does anybody have any tips on how to change this background? I haven't figured that out yet. Well, since I can't figure out how to change my background, I'll give you an introduction to me. So basically, I joined the Army when I was 18. So I graduated high school June 1993, and then August I went in the Army. I spent my entire 20s and 30s. Oh, enhance. Okay, enhance, and then background. It's locked. It says check requirements. Unlock the background. Check requirements. Get more viewers. Oh. No, that's not working. I'm not sure. It's not letting me change the backgrounds. I think it won't do it just because it's my first time, because that's what it's showing me. I put that one up there when I first started. It let me put the background up, so that's how the main one got up there. But when I click on enhance, it has like a background that shows like requirements and stuff like that. It won't let you get the option to change the backgrounds again. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll figure it out before the next one. So yeah, it's not letting me change it mid-live. I clicked on it, enhance. It has like effects and music, stickers. Background has a lock symbol on it. So it says to unlock it, check out our requirements to see how you can unlock it, and then check the requirements. So it's one more step before I can do it. I got to get more viewers. That's what it is. It's a requirement. So I got to get more viewers to change my background. So that's new. Effects. Let's see. Effects. Oh, there we go. Effects. Hey. Woo. Thank you. All right, so here we are to my introduction screen. On the top left corner, you will see me at my retirement ceremony. I really spent my entire 20s and 30s in the military. I was 18 when I joined the military, and I retired January 2015. I was 40, and 2 weeks later is when I retired. So I learned so much in the military. It actually helped me deal with different types of people. You know, my high school was so multicultural. We had all races in my high school. So I've grown up with all types of people. And then when I was in the military, it was more of the same. So I've really lived my life kind of sheltered. Some people call it sheltered. I don't call it sheltered. I call it structured. And so, you know, when you get up and get to be in charge of people, then it's different with how you interact with people. So that's my background. I went to war 4 times. We deployed in 02, 03, 05, and 07 and 8. So I was very lucky and very blessed to make it back from deployment every time. And I do not take that for granted. It taught me so much stuff. Over to the right is my graduation. I graduated in 2020 when COVID was really crazy, so we could not go to the graduation. So we had to do our slides, and that's my slide. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And so we were in class most of the time, and then like the last 3 or 4 months, they were like, hey, we got to shut down because of COVID. So that was a weird thing, but that's where I learned a lot of communication training. I learned some of that in the military. I worked at the substance abuse center. I've dealt with people who deal with addiction. I've taught effective communication. That's some of the things I'm going to be teaching people, is how to effectively communicate and handle emotions and express themselves. A lot of times when people are having conversations, they leave out so much of the conversation because they don't really know how to get through it. So for example, say you have 2 guys, they're having a conversation, right? and he gets, one of the guys says something that upsets the other one. When he comes to talk with me, I will ask him questions. So what upsets you? And he'll say, well, he called me dumb. And I'll say, okay, well, what about him calling you dumb upsets you? How did that make you feel? Well, it hurt my feelings. Okay. Why did it hurt your feelings? Oh, because I took special classes. I'm not dumb. I'm proud of myself, you know. And then I'll go on to, well, this is how you need to express that to him. I'm going to help you get through the entire realm of emotions, because a lot of people don't fully express what they're going through at the time, and they don't know how. I can also teach you how to go home and have effective communication training with your family, your coworkers, your spouse. I will never give marital advice as far as relationships, because I'm not in your relationship. I can tell you how to communicate with that person. I will never tell you what to say to that, because I'm married, and nobody's going to get in my relationship and tell me what to do, how to talk to my husband, or, you know, that's personal. So I'm just going to teach you how to communicate. But I'm also here just to give you somebody to vent to. People do not have people to vent to that they trust. And like I said earlier, it's easier to talk to people you don't know. So we'll go down to the bottom left. It says Sparkle Kicks, which is my business. I have an online business. When I retired, I honestly would tell you, I didn't know what to do with myself. Every day was Saturday to me. I woke up in the middle of the day just looking around like, I don't have nothing to do. I don't have nowhere to go. I'm so used to being up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and my day would end like 5 or 6 in the evening, because this military was structured. So when I retired, like, I was lost. I had a job maybe like some months later. I worked there for like 2 or 3 years, but it was still weird, because in my mind, it's like, when people come late, what happens to them when they're late? Oh, nothing happens. And I'm like, that's not right to me, because I'm military. Like, something got to happen, they late. It was like, no, they just run out of time. I'm like, wow. Like, so that was wild to me. But I also got bored. So I started Sparkle Kicks. I'm going to put a link up, the next one, but it's in my bio. That's my business. I do like custom shoes, custom cutting boards, custom resin stuff. I like working with my hands. When I was in Alaska, I had a lady taught me. I had PTSD, so we had like relaxation techniques, and a lady taught me how to crochet. So I really took to that, and I had like a little crochet business at first. So then I went on to do like shoes, and so yeah. Gia's my neighbor. She knows. She was like, yeah, a little bit of I do a little bit of everything. And my husband gets up, like, he's a physical therapist. He leaves in the morning at like 8 something. I'm here all day till he gets home. So I got to make some money, extra money, some kind of way. So I started my own business. So over to the right at the bottom is probably my most favorite picture, because that was the day I got married. And I didn't find my husband until I was already retired. So don't ever give up. They might be out there somewhere. You know, but I was actually already 40. I met him in 2016 online, which was already scary anyway. But I met him, and we actually hit it off. We broke up for a bit, and then we got back together. Actually, around COVID is when I had come to stay here in Atlanta, where I'm at now. So he was like, well, you know, you might as well quarantine with me here. And that's what I did. And then we wound up getting married. So that right there was a picture of my wedding. So that was a little bit about my history. So we're going to go over to, let's try to change this again and go over some of the rules for there we go. All right, here are my Talk It Out rules. So for Talk It Out, I really want Talk It Out to be a safe space. And what a safe space is where you feel safe to get things off your chest. You don't feel like somebody's going to judge you. You're, you know, basically anxious to come in if you got a problem. I want you to have a problem and be like, oh, I can't wait till Talk It Out is on. Miss Jack, I want to talk to Miss Jack. I got to tell her what happened with me. She helps me work through my problems. That's what I want it to be, a safe space. So the first rule is to be anonymous, change your page to private. some issues will be sensitive. People have gone through sensitive topics that require them to like hide from another individual that's trying to track them down. People go through so many sensitive things that you may not want to be on here where everybody can look at your background while you're trying to tell me what's going on and work through your issues. So if you want to remain private, then just go ahead and make your page private for the time that you're on the live talking to everybody, okay? No politics and religion. There are a lot of political, religious lives, and the one thing that I found is that once people know your political affiliation, they start treating you differently. They look at you differently. You can't be truly like free to express yourself when somebody knows your political religious background. So we're not going to talk about that at all, because like I said, I could talk to anybody. I don't want to discriminate. I'm not going to discriminate because of that, but I don't want anybody else to do that either, because we're going to have people up talking to each other. I also want people to share experiences. If you've been in a situation, some type of abusive situation, some type of relationship situation, and you're in the comments and you're like, hey, I've been through that same situation, I want you to be able to come up and actually talk to the other person and give them advice. Something that worked for you might work for them. So I want them to feel secure and safe enough to do that without feeling like somebody's going to judge them, because if you start judging people, you will get dropped. That this is not the place for you to judge anybody. We want to keep it safe. No over talking. One of the most important things that I learned when I was teaching effective communication is I cannot hear you and talk to you at the same time. You can't hear me and talk to me at the same time. It has to also be a one-on-one situation. I've had trainings with people where I have them write down topics. When you start talking, nobody else can talk. A lot of people listen to defend. Listening to defend and actually listening to hear are two different things. So for example, if I'm having a conversation with you and I automatically accuse you of slapping me, the only thing you're going to do is wait for your chance to defend yourself. You're not going to hear anything I say. You're just waiting on me to stop talking because you're listening to defend yourself. You're not listening to hear what I'm telling you. So that's why I say, but no over talking. We're going to talk one at a time. Do not downplay anyone's experience. Nobody can tell you about your life. Nobody can tell you about your experience. Nobody in this world has the exact same lived experience. Nobody. Not even identical twins. They may look the same, have the same DNA, but they do not live their lives exactly alike. You can't tell me something is not as bad as yours. Everybody can have issues going on. Everybody can have different issues. But what you're not going to do is sit here and say, well, that's not as bad. That's not as bad as mine because you want yours to sound better. You don't do that. That stops people from being able to share, their experience. So you don't downplay anybody else's experience, okay? The last rule, if you do recognize somebody's voice, if they change their name to initials, don't call anybody by name. The reason people make their page private is that they do not want to be recognized and they want to keep that freedom of actually, giving their experience without being judged. So all the anonymity is based on your personal freedom to express yourselves and get out everything that is fully bothering you going on at work, going on in your life. That is my goal, to make sure that you can, when you leave here, I don't want you to question how anything is feeling. Like if you come here and you got a work issue, I want you to work through that whole work issue, and I want you to leave here with a way to talk to the person that's giving you the issue. Because a lot of my training has taught me that you have to let the person know that you're having an issue with, that it is an issue. If not, you're going to keep the same issue. So I'm going to teach you how to do that as well. Okay? Let's see. Now, since I can't talk to people and bring people up, like I said, we're going to do some kind of lighthearted topics. This is mine. It also has my goal. So like and share. Try to get as many followers that you can. So the next time I'll be back Wednesday at noon. So my follow to backup is called Talk It Out SS. And we're going to change topics, but these are going to be lighthearted. When I can actually have people come up and talk, then we'll have more, you know, real life topics. But today we're going to talk about how'd you get over a fear. And I'll go first. Mine is super hilarious. So I had a fear of swimming. I was my big grown age in my 30s. I did not know how to swim. So when I was stationed in Virginia in Petersburg, and I actually saw that the YMCA was giving out swimming lessons. So you get like 8 lessons for $40. So I was like, oh, okay, I could do that. You know, I'm a big, strong woman. So the guy on the phone was like, hey, you know, we have to fit you you have a slot, but we just got to fit you where the slot is. And you'll see when you get here. So I was like, oh, man, okay. I get to this, to the gym where the pool is, and I walk over and I see the guy. He was like, hey, are you Miss Rainer? Because it was Rainer then. I was like, yeah. He was like, okay, here's your group. I kid you not. My group was a group of 6-year-olds. 6-year-old little kids. I am almost 6 feet tall. Keep that in mind. So they got me in my first ever swimming class with a bunch of 6-year-olds, right? I think about it now, it's the best thing they possibly could have done for me learning, because you can't tell a 6-year-old that you're scared. They're not going to understand why the hell you're scared, because here we got this big, and I came in my Army uniform because I came wrecked from work. So we got this 6 foot tall Army lady who is scared to put her head under this water, right? So you can't tell children that you're scared. So every time I did anything, they called me Miss Shanique because they couldn't say my whole name. So it was like the first 8 weeks, I didn't learn a thing but how to get under the water. And then I had like 8 cheerleaders, these little kids. They were like, come on, Miss Shanique, you can do it, you can do it. And I was like, okay. Jump off the edge of the pool. I'm not doing that. They were like, you got to do it. We did it. Watch. Little kids are like, watch me. Watch me. I was like, okay. So we had this little boat, and it was maybe like probably like 4 foot little tugboat. It was like an inflatable boat. So the task for the day, we all had our life vests on, and we were supposed to do capsize, where you flip the boat over, you go under the water, you come up on your back, and you do like kicking, right? So they were like, come on, Miss Shanique, you got to get in the boat. I said, Miss Shanique cannot fit in this boat. They were like, yes, you can. We did it. Watch us. I was like, I can't do it. And he said, show them. So I was like, okay, I pulled a little boat over to the side of the pool. I stick my foot in it. The boat immediately starts drowning. All the water goes in the boat, and all the little kids are like, get out, get out. No, Miss Shanique, get out. You're too big. So then they realized that I was too big, but what they said was, you're too big, because they saw the water going into the boat. So they were like, yeah, no, you can't do that. And so they was like, yeah, what else can we do? I sat on the side of the pool, and then I just fell back and I started floating. So I actually started swimming the second 8 weeks. And by that time, I was still with the 6-year-olds. So by that time, every time I did something, they were cheering. The parents were cheering. Everybody in the gym was actually cheering for me. And I was like, I had already passed the highest level of embarrassment I already had when the little kids was like, you too big, get out the boat. And so it was just like, okay, I'm ready for whatever. So we get to the 12 foot. And this was the graduation part. You had to swim back and forth like 4 strokes. And for the little kids, they were standing at the 12 foot, and they had these little rings. And the dude is just dropping the rings, just throwing them in the end of the 12 feet. And I'm like, what is he doing? And then you just see all the little kids start jumping off into the 12 feet. And I'm like, Lord, please let them come back up. And they come out kicking with their little ring. So that was how they graduated. My big grown self had to graduate, you know, go down on your back, come down forward like that. And so at the end, Like, we had our little graduation ceremony, and they were so proud of me. And I was like, you know what? Okay. You know, that's why I said I can learn something from anybody. I had little kids proud of me because they didn't realize what I was scared of, but then it made me face my fear of being scared just because these little kids were just like, come on, Miss Shanique, you can do it. So I got one more. And this one is a quick one. So I hate needles. I am terrified of needles. I do not like getting my blood drawn, any shots. I do have tattoos. That's a different feeling. But one day I went to the VA and I was going to get my blood drawn. And I walk in, there's this little boy. He's like 4 or 5. And he had just jumped out of the chair. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I got to get myself together. And he was like, are you scared? I said, yes, I am. He was like, you want me to hold your hand? Yes, I do, please. This little boy held my hand. And his mom was like, he's never had a problem with needles. He held my hand while I got my blood drawn. And he was like, you got to be a big girl. I was like, okay, I'm going to try to be a big girl. I was like, it's okay. If you need my help, just squeeze my hand if it hurts. I was like, okay. This is a 5-year-old. And he was like, it's fine. It's fine. You're doing good. You're doing great. I was like, all right. So after I finished, he was like, you did good, ma'am. And I was like, this 5-year-old just told me I did good. And it was a learning experience. Again, like I said, I can learn from anybody, but that right there probably just tickled me like the hardest time because the little boy was so helpful. And, you know, it's just one of those things you start learning that you can learn from anybody. If you don't take the time to learn from the experiences that you have, you're pretty much failing yourself. You should be able to learn something from anybody, regardless of any age. I learned a lot of things about life being in the military. We had a soldier who, I think he was maybe 18, and he came up to me one day and he said, you know, Sergeant Rainer, I have a lot going on. And so I said, well, what do you have going on? He said, well, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to a lot of these people have conversations about their life. And he said, mine is nothing like that. I said, that's usually how life is. Your life won't be like mine. My life won't be like yours. But, you know, tell me what's going on. I'll talk you through it. And he goes, well, I realized that I am supporting my whole family. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I have a disabled brother. I have my mom. I have my dad. They're all sick. They are depending on my military paycheck to live back home. And I said, are you serious? He said, yes. He said, I live free here in the military. I get free food, free housing. I said, yes. He said, but all of my paycheck goes to my family, to support my family back home. And I said, you know what? You're a good young man. I said, these are the lessons you learn your pride from. You should be very proud of what you're doing, taking care of your family. At, I think he was 17 because his mom actually signed for him to come into the military. And I said, this is what life is about. You're going to learn so many lessons, but you're starting out good already because, you know, you're taking care of your family. And we would have talks about different people's different ways of life and where they came from, and trying to learn that because you came from one place doesn't mean everybody else experienced what you experienced. You know, we have different sodas that people say. My husband is from New Orleans. There are words on a daily basis. I had to ask him what does that mean? Because it's different words in New Orleans, and then he has that slang. So then it's, you know, I learned different things from him. But one of the things that I want to get across is that keep learning. Keep learning. Don't be scared to talk to people. Don't be scared to ask for help. We're going to have topics about asking for help. How do you deal with people that suffer from addiction? Have you talked to people that are stressed out? How do you deal with stress? We're going to be doing all those type of topics next week when I can have people come up, because that is normal life. Those are things that people want to talk about but have nobody to talk to, and that's what I'm here for. So, again, like and share, because I think I made it to my little 30 minutes. Like and share and try to get me some followers. Please follow my backup page, which is called TalkItOut SS. And thank you guys for bearing with me. I'm gonna figure out how to work this thing here. Thank you, Straight Facts. Thank you, Murph. Thank you, Gia. If you got any questions, that's what I want to do. I'm gonna see if anybody has any questions before I go. Try to figure out how to do all these things, but I like it. Thank you. What's that? Cali Graphics. Thank you. We're gonna get there. So we're gonna do it. The Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday will be my next two, and then next week we'll do maybe every day. I also have a Sunday. I'm going to have Sundays for men only. I have a lot of topics for men. So I'm trying to get some men on the panel to give men somebody to talk to. We as women can't really fully be understood by men. We can only be fully understood by other women. And I feel the same thing for men. Men can only be fully understood by other men because they have shared situations. I can't tell a man what he's gone through from his aspect, but another man can. So in basic, what do they have you use pants as flotation? We did something called drown proofing. Not in basic, but in my first duty station, we did drown proofing, and we had the original BDUs, the battle dress uniform. It was like a dark green. So we would have to take our pants and tie them up at the ends and just like do like this to build water up to make our own little flotation device and tie it around our neck and try to float with it. That's something we did in basic training. Not in basic, it was in my first duty station. But wow, that really brought me back. But yeah, so men, I think men can do better with men. Like one of my topics is how did a woman make you feel comfortable or uncomfortable on a date? Which is going to be interesting to me because we don't see men's aspects. So I'm kind of excited about that one. But my biggest excitement is to be able to talk to people and help them work issues out. Was I scared? I was definitely scared. I was scared because I couldn't swim. So, you know, I'm keep in mind, I've been this height since the 7th grade. So I'm standing there trying not to drown, but also trying to do what I got to do because I got to pass this training. The same thing as we had something called Combat Lifesaver where we had to give each other IVs. So I don't like needles. I always wound up doing mine on the instructor. I didn't trust nobody else to do it. Like, you're not certified. You're not giving me an IV. Like, you putting this in my vein. Like, I was terrified. But I had to, you know, get through the fears. It's so many fears that I've done and gotten through that's why I said it's always easy to learn something from new people. I will never, ever stop learning. So, yeah. So tell your friends and tell everybody you know if you need somebody to talk to. Wednesday and Friday, I'll be here at noon. And then next week, it'll be pretty much every day. And bring me all your issues. I'll say it like that. Like I said, the only things we won't talk about, we will not talk about politics. We will not talk about religion because we want to keep it safe. I want to give you a safe space to vent. I don't care if you get up here and you're like, Miss Jack, my whole life is towed up. Okay, well, let's take it one by one. Talk to me. Tell me what the problems are, and I'm going to help you work through it as best I can. And hopefully we'll have other people be able to come up and help share things that they've gone through as well. And you can hear it. It's therapeutic, I think, to find out that you're not the only one. Like, I thought I was the only person that couldn't swim, like, at my big grown age till I got in there with some kids. To know that other people share your problems, you shouldn't, not that you're going to be happy that, hey, we got the same problems, but just to say, you know what, I'm not the only one going through that. I tell my neighbor and I tell my brother, some of them will tell me some of the same things sometimes. I'll be like, yeah, he just told me the same stuff. You know, you got to keep your head up. You got to keep trying. You got to keep going. You know, sit down and talk it out. My brother grew up in Orlando, and some of the things that he went through, I will never know. I didn't experience that, so I can't tell you his aspect, but all I can do is talk him through it, and he'll tell me, you know, I only call you when I'm frustrated. I call you when I'm frustrated. I say, you know what? That is what I'm here for. To be that friend that you don't know that you can talk to. Okay? So thank you guys for bearing with me, getting me through my first live, and I'll be excited to see. Hopefully, y'all, I see some people liking and sharing, which just makes me so happy. I can't wait to tell my husband. So y'all have a good day, and thank you again. Now, how do I close it?